Yo guys, welcome to the 44th installment of the NP Podcast. As you can see today, some things have been a little different. You know, I got some water on the table this time. No, but I was finally able to switch the setup around, which is something I've wanted to do a long time. Not just for the podcast, but for the YouTube channel. And it's so refreshing, even though it takes me like 30 minutes to get everything set up over here, because I usually do have stuff over here and I have to move it all around. But hey, that's good enough for me. It feels clean. I love it. And it's really funny that I mainly wanted to do this for the podcast channel, but in all reality, if I upload these YouTube videos on the podcast channel, people are most likely listening to it rather than watching. I've never watched a podcast. They're just boring. Who wants to see a guy's face moving for an hour while they talk? No, you want to listen to a podcast while you're going off on like a walk or something. So yeah, it's kind of funny that I do this for the podcast. But as I was talking about last podcast, maybe one day I can get a really good setup and it would be really interesting. So the over-romanticization of the YouTuber lifestyle. And I'm talking about the lifestyle of making the videos and just how doing YouTube affects your life. I feel like people have a big notion that when you're doing YouTube, it's a certain way. I remember when I was a kid, I always fantasized how awesome it would be making YouTube videos every day and then just responding to comments all day. But in all reality, it's not actually like that. And a lot of people think that YouTube's gonna be a certain way when they're starting it. The YouTuber's life is far different than the way it's portrayed in videos. It's really easy to get caught up in seeing somebody do YouTube videos and like, oh man, that's so awesome. I would love to do YouTube and have that. It's actually not that easy doing YouTube, especially if you're a one-man show. It is really hard to be a one-man show in 2021 if you're trying to compete with other people who have, let's say, a person editing their thumbnails, their videos, and everything else. The only thing they're doing is coming up with the idea of the video and recording. But it's not actually like that. If YouTube was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Those other things, the editing and the thumbnail making, is in my opinion what makes a lot of people quit YouTube. And I'll even go as far as saying the ideas for videos. I see so many smaller channels never having ideas for videos, and they talk about it in the channel. And this is coming from a person who used to do the same thing. In fact, I made an entire video about not having a video idea, so I just did random crap in the video. But a lot of people come into doing YouTube and not expecting as much as hard work that it will be, because YouTube is genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've had a lot of laborious jobs. That's a lot of labor, doing a lot of work. I mean, I do logging right now. I built a greenhouse before. I built a root cellar. None of that, all combined, even compares to how hard doing YouTube is. Because you're the person who has to make yourself get up and do things. In a job, you're just told when you have to get up and all you have to do is do it. And then when you get to the job, you're told what needs to be done and you do it. That is so simple. It's so easy to have it all laid out for you like that. But with YouTube, it's not. Nobody's making you do anything, and if you don't do anything, nobody's gonna care if you're not doing anything, because it's all on you. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people quit YouTube. They really don't know what they're getting into. And I'll admit, when I started YouTube, I kind of had this perception of what it would be. Because I grew up on COD Zombies YouTubers. I grew up on the 20-minute 5-part challenge videos on Origins and stuff like that. I watched a ton of those videos, and if YouTube was still like that, yeah, YouTube would be incredibly easy. But the thing is, those videos don't work out, not only on YouTube in terms of algorithm wise and getting it out to other people, because nobody's searching for 115 challenge on Mob of the Dead. It also doesn't work for you. How long can you keep up with doing content that isn't evolving at all, content that isn't getting better. And I see a lot of the YouTubers back in the day, for around up until 2016 maybe, their content was all the same. So you really can't make content like that anymore. So you have to at least put the bare minimum of editing in a few cuts into a video. And after all that, amongst everything else you have in life, YouTube is like a second job. So let's say you're in school and you have an after school job, and then you doing YouTube is your passion. It's basically a job. Even if I will say that YouTube is my passion, but it's a lot of work. And a lot of people aren't ready for that. And I would just like to say, if you're getting into YouTube, it's so much work. And you have to be prepared for that. You have to mentally be prepared for that, or else you're gonna be a lot like a lot of other people who end up quitting. Now for me, it's actually funny to say, because I was expecting when I would do YouTube, it would be as easy as 1, 2, 3, doing the same things those zombie YouTubers did all those years, making top 5s. I thought it would be smooth sailing. I actually have like a year of content piled up in a folder that I ripped between like 2012 and 2016. And they're just videos of playing games and doing top 5s. And that's because that's all the content I used to watch. But there was a part of me knowing that it would be a lot of hard work, because I didn't know what I was getting into with editing. Because I remember a lot of YouTubers used to, specifically Laggin24x. I was a big fan. Laggin24x and Crazy Rabbit, those were like the first 2 guys I actually seriously started watching on YouTube that were zombie YouTubers. And that was in like 2011 or 2012. And I remember specifically Laggin, he was always talking about how long it took to edit videos and how long it took to render them. You know, looking back on it, I know why, because his computer was probably garbage. But there was a part of me knowing that when I was going into YouTube, there was gonna be things that were super hard to do. And those were the only YouTubers that ever talked about stuff like that, about how hard it was. But it's really funny looking back on it now, because I realized what I watched those videos that they were talking about that in, when there wasn't a single edit at all in the entire video. Not even a sound effect, nothing. It's just recording. I mean, they added their little opening intro, but besides that, they didn't edit anything in the entire video. And it's so funny to think like that, when those guys did nothing. The videos that I started making within the first 2 months of my channel were better than those videos. And that's saying a lot, because my videos were awful. And a big thing that I have to mention is, you end up being very unhealthy, not only mentally, but especially physically when you're doing YouTube. Your day may look like this. And it's really sad to say, but the better you get at doing YouTube, the more your day is going to be sitting. Because once you get better at editing, you're going to be editing longer and more. And yeah, sure, you do get faster at editing when you're doing the same thing over and over, but you don't want to always be doing that, because then you're never progressing at YouTube. And in my opinion, editing and the recording is the biggest skill that you can have for YouTube. So eventually you're going to be editing your videos for long periods of times. And then based on the schedule that you have for your channel, it'll mean sitting a lot more. And back when I was uploading every 3 days, for 2 days out of those 3 days, I would probably be sitting for around 8 hours. And that would be after going to school, where I sat down all day. It's so awful living that lifestyle, because it kind of negates any exercise you do. Let's be generous and say you went running for an entire hour in a day. But the thing is, you sat the other 13 hours of your day, that it basically negates that hour of working out if you're going to be so unhealthy. And there's so many bad health benefits, I mean, non-benefits to sitting down all the time. There's issues with your spine, there's issue with your legs, there's so many issues that's brought upon sitting down. And it can make your life pretty bad. And now let me get into the mentally unhealthy stuff. When you do YouTube, I remember what I did, and maybe not a lot of people do this, but I was really passionate into YouTube when I first started it. I basically stopped talking to people. I stopped hanging out with people when I seldomly did it in the first place. It was like non-existent. I remember one time between 9th and the first few months of 10th grade, I think I hung out with people maybe once or twice, compared to in that time frame I might have hung out with people around 6 to 10 times. And so obviously that's not going to be mentally good when you're putting all in into one thing. Now, it was really fun in the beginning to do that, always focusing on YouTube. I did really enjoy that. But the thing is, I wish I got away from that, because I ended up doing that up until maybe the beginning of 12th grade, and then that's when I realized that I was doing something bad and I needed to stop. And also, for a long time, since YouTube was the only thing I did stop pursuing other hobbies. You can't just have one hobby. In my opinion, you should have 2 hobbies, one being your main one and the other one being like almost as much as you do your main hobby, but a little less. And the reason why I say this is because if you do YouTube as long as I have, and YouTube is your only hobby, you are going to go crazy. For instance, let's say right now, I don't really have another hobby. I mean, I like riding horses and I get lessons right now, but currently I don't have my own horses. So I can't really say it's my hobby. Right now, my only hobby is doing YouTube. And about a month ago, my life was pretty busy outside of YouTube. I had 2 jobs. I was doing cleaning in my mom's business, and then I was doing cleaning for a friend's mother. And then all the time I'd hang out with that friend, and once a week I'd get around with this group of friends, and also I'd see my other friend probably once every week or so. My life was pretty busy, but all of a sudden all of that's halted, and I'm not doing any of that anymore because some stuff came up. Now being left up to my own devices all day, it kind of drives you nuts, because you're in a position where there's not enough novelty in your life to have the energy to really do anything. For instance, I love reading, especially books that are about like obtaining knowledge. But it is really hard to read when you're trying to focus on one page, but you're so bored that you don't want to read. But the thing is, when you stop reading, you're still going to be super bored. And it's a vicious cycle. And I even feel this with a video today. I was so bored that I didn't want to edit videos, and I just ended up doing nothing. And it's just very important when you're doing YouTube that you have other things that you like to do. Even if it's something as little as playing piano 30 minutes a day. If it can take your mind off of YouTube and fully envelop your mind into something else that isn't YouTube, that is amazing. In general, it is just hard pursuing other things in life as a YouTuber. A lot of the times there's barely any in between. If you want to do YouTube as a side passion and just do it, but want to be disciplined with it and upload a video every 2 weeks or once a month, and you want to make sure that video is as amazing as it can be, because I view YouTube as like an art gallery. You want to put your best pieces of art in your gallery. You wouldn't want to just put a bad one in there that you'd paint. No, you're going to throw that one out. So I want to make the best videos that I possibly can, but it takes a lot of energy. And if you want to go to pursue something else in life, like let's say a school or a job, it's very hard to juggle the 2 of them. And it's not impossible. In high school, I had 2 jobs, went to high school, and uploaded a video every 3 days. Granted, those videos weren't even good at all, but it's still possible to do. And you can imagine that if I posted once a week, my videos would have been great. If I posted every 2 weeks, they would have been exponentially better. I find it really hard to pursue other things in life right now, because it's either I'm bored all day and I do YouTube, or I get a job that I hate and all I can think about is doing YouTube and how much I want to quit. And it's a really sad reality, because it's hard to make a career, and I'm talking about a career, something you genuinely enjoy, not like working at McDonald's and eventually getting promoted to a manager. I'm talking about a true career that you enjoy and you can see yourself doing 10 years from where you're at now. And it's so hard to pursue that stuff when you care about YouTube more than any of that at all. And YouTube, it's just not possible making a career off of it. I find a lot of the things YouTubers do to make money is pretty dishonorable, and I understand it. Making these Patreons, for instance, I've never looked at somebody's Patreon benefits and I'm like, wow, I want to sign up for that. That sounds amazing. And I guess it is more for like, hey, if you want to support me, here it is, and you'll get benefits with it for supporting me. So I think that's what Patreon is. And there's this balancing act that I want to, like I'm like stuck between, is what do I do? Because I'm potentially moving out at the end of the year. And it's like, I don't want to work a full-time 40-hour-a-week job that I hate, because I've in a way already experienced it. And yes, I'm glad that I experienced it, but I wouldn't like to experience it again, because I really do value my life and what I do with my life. Even if I be down bad sometimes, I really do appreciate life, no matter what. I'm so glad I can be here and be making a podcast, because 4 years ago, I couldn't. And there's this pressure for me to try to make money off of YouTube, because no matter what, you're not going to make money off of ads on YouTube. And that's why I don't even bother. If I make $2 a month off of YouTube, which is around what I'm making, it's not the exact number. Please don't kill me, YouTube. But it's around what I'm making every single month. I can't live off of $24 a month. And let's say I enabled skippable ads. It'll probably be around $4 a month. But then what am I going to do with $48 a year? It's not worth it. It's not worth it to me to put ads on my video. So I'm just not going to do it. But there's this pressure that if I kind of want to make a little money off of this, that maybe I should do a Patreon. But I find it very disgusting, because in my opinion, Patreon is just asking people for money, because nobody on earth actually views these perks as good things. Like, oh, stage 1 Patreon, you get early access to videos. Like, who cares? The video's gonna, do we live in a society that's so impatient that they'll pay $5 a month to get 2 videos that are gonna be posted that month by a YouTuber who's really inconsistent? No. And I don't, like, what, am I gonna give them a role in Discord that says that they're a Patreon supporter? Who cares? It's really just asking for money and tagging along benefits, because that's what they expect you to do. And it's really sad, but I guess this is the YouTuber life. And I think about even like channels with 1 million subs don't make money off of YouTube, really, off the ads. You can see these huge channels, they have to do sponsors. Now, I don't know whether it's they don't make a lot of money on YouTube and they have to get sponsors, or they're just trying to keep their money up and live their materialistic lifestyle. Who knows? And I think the worst dilemma of a YouTuber is, if you're hiring people to do your stuff on YouTube, at what point are you no longer the YouTuber? I've been thinking a lot about this, specifically the last 6 months. This is what made me start thinking about this, is because of Mr. Beast. If you know Mr. Beast's channel, it used to be a fairly small channel with like very few people working on it, maybe like Mr. Beast and two to three other people. And now it's like everybody, there's like a whole group of 60 people working on his videos. And I was thinking of the whole theory of, okay, you replace a broom handle. Is it the same broom? Well, you could say yes, because it's still the same head. And then you replace the head. Is that the same broom? And you could say, well, yeah, there's still the tip of the broom on top of it. And then you replace the tip of the broom. Is it still the same broom? No. And at what point are you having everybody do everything on your YouTube channel that you're no longer the YouTuber? Because what if I hired somebody to edit my videos? I'd feel like no longer there'd never be a rate of progression in my YouTube channel any longer. Here's why. You tell a person how to edit, so they're gonna edit that way. And yeah, you can coach them on, okay, do that, do this better. But all in all, you want to make it as you doing as little work as possible, so you don't want to be micromanaging the person who's editing your videos. And so the editor is going to get down the edits to a T of how you like them. And then you have the editor doing it more and more, getting better and better at it, and getting faster and faster, getting the videos done faster and faster. And that's what YouTubers want. They want a new YouTube video every 3 days so they can get 1 million views. And then how it is that essentially all of the videos are the same. Even if it's a different concept, the videos are the same. For instance, Mr. Beast again. I see within the last 2 years, maybe the last year of his content, every single video has been the exact same thing. The same edits, the same everything, the same concept for videos. It's boring. And so you're essentially not the YouTuber anymore after that. Because who wants to watch that? I know I can't watch a YouTuber who never evolves. And that's what I had to seriously change about me, is I couldn't do uploads every 3 days again. And then I did for around 6 months, uploading once every week. And then for a while I did uploading whenever I want, and now I'm doing a once every 2 weeks. And it's really fun. And that's how I'm getting my most growth right now, because within 10 videos, there'd barely be any noticeable growth with posting every 3 days. But now, the difference between every video is so big compared to what it would be in 10 videos of last year. And I find that amazing. And it makes me feel great that I'm finally doing good on my YouTube channel and finally have a way for myself, even if I get down sometimes about it. But yeah, this was just a short podcast, guys. I didn't really have anything else to talk about. I just wanted to get another podcast out for the second week, 2 weeks in a row. And by the way, I posted 2 weeks in a row on my main channel too. So make sure you check out the 2 newest videos because they're really good. It's the Nerdperiod channel trailer, which I finally made a channel trailer for my channel. And then also I did a history of every profile picture that I've had in the last 4 years. It sounds like a boring concept, but it's actually a very entertaining video that I'm very proud of. And I actually really enjoy the video. So I definitely recommend you guys to go watch it out. And also, big announcement. I finally figured out what I'm going to do for streaming. I'm going to stream the first Saturday of every single month. And now I know I didn't do it this month, but I'm going to be streaming Saturday next week. No, that's wrong, because I won't be here next Saturday. Crap! Oh, that's doo-doo. Wow, I should have scheduled this out better, because these plans just came up like an hour ago. And then, oh man, that sucks. Okay, well, I'll definitely have to make a different time for it this month, but I'm definitely getting it done this. And overall, yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in to the 44th installment of the NP Podcast. Next podcast coming up in 2 weeks. I'm hoping to have a guest on. You guys know him. He's been around in my channel, in my live stream since like 2017. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you in the next podcast.